Have you ever wondered how different your life would be if you had been born somewhere else? Not with different parents, not with a different personality, not even with different dreams, just a different country. Because the truth is, the country you grow up in changes more than most people realize. It changes the streets you walk on, the school you attend, the opportunities you see, and sometimes, the future you believe is possible. Today, we're going to follow the exact same 12-year-old child through three completely different economies. A developing economy, an emerging economy, and one of the most advanced economies in the world. Same child, same curiosity, same dreams, but three completely different starting lines. And by the end of this video, you'll see how one simple thing, the place you're born, can quietly shape the rest of your life. Country 1, India, 1995. You're 12 years old. You wake up early in the morning. The noise coming from the street wakes you up before your alarm does. When you look out the window, the city is already alive. Someone is heading to work. Someone is opening a small shop. Someone is waiting for their first customer of the day. And you're getting ready for school. Life feels normal to you, because you've never seen anything different. But at that very same moment, children in other parts of the world are growing up in completely different realities. And you have no idea. You know every street on the way to school by heart. The same corner, the same stores, the same people. Some of them know your name, some of them know your family. The neighborhood is small, but when you're a kid, the world feels about as big as the place you live. When you come home from school, the streets are still crowded. Kids are playing soccer outside. Neighbors know each other. Life feels a little crowded, a little repetitive, but it's also full of energy. Your family works hard. Everyone is trying to build a slightly better future. And that's really the story of the country itself. In 1995, India is trying to develop, trying to grow. But growth doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes it takes years for a country to change. You don't see any of this as economics. You're just living your life. Some evenings the power goes out. Some days plans change. Some things don't move as quickly as you'd like. But people are used to it, because life doesn't have to be perfect. For many people, what's important is believing that tomorrow can be a little better than today. One afternoon after school, you're walking with your friends and talking about what you want to become one day. A doctor, an engineer, a teacher, a pilot. The dreams are big, but opportunities aren't always as big as the dreams. And this is where economics begins to affect people. It doesn't change a child's dream, but it can change the chances of reaching it. Some families want their children to attend better schools. Some are saving money for private tutoring. Others simply hope their kids can continue their education. Because not everyone starts from the same place. And as a child, you don't really notice that. You just see that some of your friends have different things. Some have newer shoes. Some have more things at home. Some don't need to work after school. But at that age, these don't seem like major economic differences. They just feel like part of life. When you get home, your family is gathered around the dinner table talking about their day. Everyone is working. Everyone is trying to improve something. Your father talks about the future. Your mother plans upcoming expenses. And while you're eating, your mind is somewhere else. Maybe you're thinking about the weekend. Maybe your friends. Or maybe the life you'd like to have someday. People often think economics is only about money, but economics is also about hope. If people believe the future can be better than the present, then an economy becomes more than just numbers. And that's exactly the feeling you find in India in 1995. Nothing is perfect. In fact, many things are difficult. But people are trying to move forward. And you're growing up among them. The buildings in your neighborhood, the school you attend, the sacrifices your family makes, the games you play in the street, the relatives you visit on weekends, the crowded family dinners. All of these things are quietly shaping your future. Because the things that feel normal when you're a child often become the fingerprints your country leaves on you. And years later you'll realize something. You didn't just grow up in a country. You grew up during a time when that country was trying to grow too. And sometimes the real story of an economy isn't written on stock market screens. It's written on the streets a child walks every single day. Country 2, Brazil, 2005. You're 12 years old. This time it's 2005. The sun has already risen. When you look out the window, the city feels alive and full of movement. But compared to India, it's a little less crowded. Cars, buses, people, music playing in the distance. Street vendors, everything feels energetic. This is Brazil, and life moves at a very different pace here. Before school, you eat a quick breakfast. Then you grab your backpack and head outside. The streets feel different from the ones in India, more open, wider, and while favelas are common, there's also a strong feeling that the country is changing. But one thing remains the same: everyone wants a better future. Because Brazil in 2005 is a country trying to move forward. The economy is growing, cities are expanding, new opportunities are appearing. But not everyone has equal access to those opportunities. You don't fully understand any of that yet. You're just living your childhood. After school, you play soccer with your friends. An empty field, an old ball, and somehow it feels like you're playing in the most important match in the world. Sometimes that's what childhood is. It's not about how much you have. It's about how much imagination you can build around it. When you get home in the evening, the television is on. Your family is watching the news. Some people are finding new jobs. Some are reaching better living conditions. Others still seem stuck in the same place. Because that's often what a developing economy looks like. Progress on one side, inequality on the other, opportunity on one side, uncertainty on the other. And those two worlds often exist on the very same street. One day, you're traveling through different parts of the city after school. Some neighborhoods look modern and full of new buildings. Others look almost unchanged for years. As a kid, you can't fully explain the difference, but you can feel it. Some people's lives seem to move forward more easily. Others have to fight much harder for the same outcome. Sometimes that's what economics really is. Everyone playing the same game, but not everyone starting from the same place. Still, there's a strong sense of energy in the air, because people believe the future can be better. The city is growing, new buildings are rising, new roads are being built, new businesses are opening. And all of that begins to influence the way children imagine their futures. Maybe one day you'll start your own business. Maybe you'll become a professional soccer player. Maybe an engineer. Or maybe you still have no idea what you want to do. But the number of possibilities is growing. And sometimes that's the biggest impact economic growth can have on people. Not the money in their pockets, but the number of futures they can imagine for themselves. One evening, you're having dinner out with your family. People are talking at nearby tables. Laughter fills the air. Music plays in the background. The atmosphere feels busy but warm. Life isn't perfect. Nobody claims it is. But people feel like they're moving forward. And that's a powerful feeling. Because when a society believes in the future, people take more risks, work harder, and dream bigger. Maybe that's why some countries don't just grow economically. They grow psychologically too. And you're growing up right in the middle of that transformation. In school hallways, in neighborhood parks, on crowded buses, at family dinners, during weekend gatherings. All of these small moments come together, and without realizing it, they teach you the story of the country you're living in. You may not even know the word economy yet, but you're experiencing its effects every single day. In the new stores opening around town, in the changing appearance of the city, in your family's conversations about the future, in the dreams your friends talk about. And years later, you'll realize something. Watching a country grow isn't just about watching numbers go up. Sometimes it's about watching a child grow up with more choices, more possibilities, more hope. And as someone growing up in Brazil in 2005, that's exactly the kind of era you're living through. Not everything is solved, not everything is perfect, but the horizon feels a little wider. And sometimes that's exactly what people need. Not a guarantee, just a small sign that progress is possible. Because what a child sees when they look toward the future can sometimes be the most accurate reflection of the economy they grew up in. Country 3, Japan 2010. You're 12 years old. This time it's 2010. Your alarm goes off in the morning. When you look out the window, the city is already awake. But everything feels a little different here. The streets are quieter. Public transportation is more organized. People move faster. And it feels like everyone has somewhere important to be. This is Japan, one of the most developed economies in the world. But as a kid, you don't think of it that way. You're just living your life. You leave home and head to school. The streets are clean. People follow the rules. The trains are incredibly punctual. Nobody talks about it, because everyone assumes that's normal. But in much of the world, it isn't. Most of your day is spent in school. Teachers are serious. Students work hard. Recess is fun, but achievement matters. Because people here believe preparation for the future starts early. Exams, grades, expectations, plans, all of these things become part of childhood. One afternoon, you take the train home after school. The train car is quiet. Some people are looking at their phones. Others are reading books. Some are simply resting after a long day. The city is large, modern, developed. But sometimes it's still possible to feel alone in a crowded place. Because developed economies can solve many problems, but they can't solve every problem. When you get home, your family is sitting around the dinner table. Life feels comfortable. Everything feels organized. You have access to most of the things you need. The internet, books, technology, safe streets, quality education. For many people around the world, these are major advantages. On the weekend, you visit the city center. Massive screens, tall buildings, crowded streets, stores, restaurants. Everything feels impressive. And for many people around the world, this is exactly the kind of life they imagine when they think about a developed country. Because one of the biggest things developed economies provide is choice. More choices, more access, more opportunities. One day you're talking about the future with your friends. Some want to become engineers, some want to become doctors, some dream about starting companies. Others still have no idea what they want to do. And honestly, that's completely normal. Because no matter where you live, a 12-year-old isn't expected to have their entire future figured out. But the economy you grow up in can change certain things. Not your dreams, but the roads available to reach them. One evening, you're looking at the city lights on your way home. Everything feels organized. Everything feels planned. And without realizing it, you begin to treat those things as normal. Because people naturally assume the world they grow up in is the standard. Just like the child in India. Just like the child in Brazil. But when we step back and look at all three stories, something interesting appears. 3 different countries, 3 different economies, and yet the same child. Because dreams don't change, friendship doesn't change, family doesn't change, curiosity doesn't change. What changes is the environment, the opportunities, the circumstances, and the paths available in front of you. And sometimes, the biggest difference in people's lives isn't how hard they work, it's where they begin. The country you're born in isn't your destiny, but it is your starting line. And some starting lines begin a little farther ahead than others. That's where the real impact of an economy begins. Not in who a child becomes, but in the world that child grows up seeing.